personality on eBay. You can buy everything on eBay. You can buy a wife on eBay. You can buy a personality. But yeah, Hideo and TM61 picked up the victory. Crowd went home happy because, like, fucking Hideo Itami. There's nothing else. And I also have to say, TM61 has a reputation for being one of the best tag teams in the world for good reason. These guys are fucking amazing in the ring. Like, unreal. Like, absolutely unfucking real. So I was very, very excited to see them. But yeah, honestly, it was a pretty good show. And I was excited because the show was good as it was, and it was Elena's first. So I was pumped as fuck that it went really well. But yeah, if you live in Florida or travel to Florida and have the opportunity, go to the Lakeland Armory because the shows are solid usually, and the venue's dope. Like, it's really, really nice. I say that a lot, like, with venues. I'm very picky. But yeah, the Armory is definitely awesome. Even though I still am partial to Menring Hall, despite it being a bingo hall. Whatever.
Hey, whatever makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
So we got about 13 minutes in this first block. I don't know what you want to transition into.
Let's see. We could just briefly talk about the stupid idiot of the week.
Oh, yes, this is a lovely one. Because it involves multiple people.
Yeah, so we have stupid idiots of the week. It is not just Sean Brown and his colorful last name.
Your color.
Fucking Nimrod. Anyway, so this is getting massive coverage. Jesus fucking Christ.
To the point where the WWE actually addressed it.
Yeah. So, more than 50, okay? More than 50 wrestlers are suing WWE over, quote, brain damages.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Let that one sink in for a second. But more than 50 former professional wrestlers filed a class action lawsuit against World Wrestling Entertainment on Monday. The complaint alleges that the former wrestlers suffer from long-term brain damage and the development of chronic traumatic, I have no idea how to pronounce that, encephalopathy? I don't know. Also known as CTE, the Alzheimer's-like neurodegenerative disease associated with repeated hits to the head. Okay. So, according to the suit, the head trauma that has resulted in injury is the accumulative effect of many impacts to the plaintiff's heads that occurred on a regular routine basis during their WWE career. Okay. So, some of the names that have been thrown out are Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, Road Warrior Animal, and Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Who, by the way, has to have a caregiver and a person speak for him, so technically it's not even him.
Mm-hmm. And another fun little tidbit to add about the Jimmy Snuka thing is Snuka was recently ruled mentally incompetent to stand trial on murder and manslaughter charges in the death of a former girlfriend in 1983. Defense attorneys argued Snuka's suffering from dementia and that he suffered numerous concussions during his career, hence why he has the onset of dementia. Now, we actually had a pretty lengthy conversation about this on the Facebook page with a few various people. Because as soon as the news broke, I obviously was like, this is a gold mine. Julie and I both kind of are on the, wow, you must be broke fence.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this was such a pressing issue, it would have been addressed many, many, many years ago. You know, like when it happened.
But
and, yeah.
honestly, we're in a day and age where a lot of information is extremely accessible, and a lot of people lately have been getting hurt, and it's been reported that it has been concussions, and they're now taking precautions to try to prevent anything worse from happening. Like, even Vince McMahon is, like, sitting there thinking that Sasha Banks is a little bit too accident-prone because she gets concussions, and she only had one or whatever. But, like, people like Daniel Bryan, people like Christian, people like Edge, they keep getting hit in the head all the time, and it amounts to a lot of damage, and yeah, neurological issues can be developed, but when these people got their injuries, it was back in a day and age where nobody really knew that much information about the medical coverage of concussions. They never really explored that. In fact, I don't think they actually started doing that very much until like early 2000s, because I think the one person that comes to mind when I think of like the concussion situation is Chris Nowinski.
Oh yeah.
And he kind of spearheaded that whole thing, and it's been like they went into it ever since, and they've been trying to figure out how to prevent them and how to treat people so that they don't get any more concussions. And it's really hard to avoid in a company where you're physically combating every night. But these people, like I said, they had these issues ages ago. Why not sue them then? Easy answer. They had no information on this. They didn't know they could make quick money off of this because there have been other lawsuits to the WWE and other companies for the same reason. So you get a whole bunch of names together, especially some that are very well known, and they seem to think that they're going to get away with getting money just because of that. And it's kind of sad to see that happen because, you know, I don't want to be the guy that sits there and says, well, they're doing this because they just want cash. But it literally is set up to look that way. And it doesn't help that social media basically perpetuates every last freaking detail on everything to do with, you know, this wrestler or that female wrestler that got hurt and so-and-so's suing for whatever because of the WWE and whatnot. When you have that sort of exposure to this information, you kind of see dollar signs and you hear cha-ching in your head and you find a lawyer and you buck up and go for it.
Yeah. And like we're not going to sit here and bash people for getting injured or, you know, having medical issues due to excessive injury. But one thing that doesn't even, I don't feel it needs to be said because it's so common. Nobody has ever said that professional wrestling in any capacity was safe. Like, you're in the ring with another human being or human beings, depending on, you know, the type of match, depending on the night. This changes daily. Like, you're in the ring with other human beings, with other competitors who are doing the exact same thing you're doing. Accidents happen because you're human. This isn't like, you know, you're put into a machine and, you know, injuries are like completely avoidable. That's not how this business works.
It's not how life works.
No, exactly. And it's like you can't expect to be in a physically demanding occupation such as professional wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. When it comes down to brass tacks, you are still a wrestler. Whether you are in the WWE and are classified a sports entertainment actor, whatever, you are still physically competing with other people. Therefore, injuries can happen because while it is choreographed to a degree and while it is scripted, it is not fake. Yes, a lot of, you know, you learn to take the bumps, you learn to take the hits, You learn to take the spots. But at the end of the day, like, human error comes into play. You sign those contracts knowing full well what you're getting yourself into. There is no reason to sue over your personal decision to wrestle for as long as you did. There's that. And then there's also the whole concept of just getting a bunch of random people with like a few like big names peppered in there on board with this, like, you know, oh, it's power in numbers, we're going to win this regardless. No, you're really not. And all of the people that are mentioned, like, you know, Snuka has a whole bunch of shit going on. Road Warrior Animal hasn't done a whole lot. I haven't heard Paul Orndorff's name in years. Like, a lot of these names that are being brought up are people who are probably broke. And like Julie said, neither one of us want to be that guy, but it's hard not to when everything looks like a very quick scheme to get money. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there are stupid idiots of the week because give me a fucking break.
Quite frankly, you go into this profession because you want to wrestle, you want to do that physical stuff, and it's not like the company is putting a gun to your head and saying, you know what, you need to get injured. Injuries happen, unfortunately. And it's your responsibility and the person that you're in the ring with's responsibility to make sure that you don't get injured. Mm-hmm. But it happens. It's nobody's fault but your own.
Yeah. And I think for me, like, the saddest part of the whole thing is seeing people that I used to watch growing up become these people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's one of those old phrases, you either, you know, die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And, you know, it sucks to see, you know, people that you grew up watching and idolizing and respecting end up doing shit like this for whatever reason. Like, yes, injuries happen. Yes, medical conditions can derive from injuries happening when you were active. This isn't news. Like, you see guys like, you know, Bryan Danielson, he can't wrestle anymore, and he's really, really young. Edge had to retire early because of injuries. Christian had to, he's retired now. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. Like, I haven't seen him wrestle. Yeah.
He no longer has a contract with the WWE in a physical capacity other than doing the Edge and Christian show.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know about that. But, like, you see a lot of these young guys. Like, Corey Graves, even. Like, Corey was really... That was the saddest thing for me, because that kid has potential. He has star power written all fucking over him. And because of concussions, he couldn't wrestle. At the end of the day, they all could be doing the exact same thing. They could be on this lawsuit suing for millions of dollars for personal injuries and, like, brain damage and all of this other shit. But they're not. To our knowledge, obviously, like, we don't know who everyone is. I'll guarantee you fucking dollars to fucking donuts, they're not involved. But at the end of the day, this is all people who you haven't heard of for years. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, so here we go. We're going to, pop back into the spotlight, and we're going to get money out of it. Whatever. What fucking ever. They'll probably get a payout because the WWE has the money to back their asses. WWE doesn't give a flying fuck because they know this is a risky business.
That's right. And now we have to take our risky business and get on to our second block because we're only a few seconds away from ending.
Yay.
So refresh your pages, bitches. We'll be right back.